Welcome, Patriots. We have a lot going on in the world today, so we're going to get right to it. This is a fabulous Halloween. We're going to cover some really intense stuff. We've got a fabulous guest lined up for our show today, and we can't wait to share it with you. If it's in your sights, it's on my radar. This is Raven's Radar. We'll be airborne shortly. Happy Halloween, everyone. We have a lot to cover today, but let's condense it to the things that are highest priority for what's facing our country right now. One of the biggest things that everyone is talking about is another leg of the supply shortage. What does that actually mean? Well, conservative estimates place our strategic oil supply at either 21 or 25 days, depending on what source you're looking at. Either way, that puts us as running out of oil somewhere around Thanksgiving or right in the midst of the holidays. That's horrible. That's about as bad as it gets. This is an escalating problem. This is Biden and the regime draining our strategic oil reserves. I've had people come back to me, but Raven, it's the president's job to protect us. It is not the president's job to sell our oil going into winter and drain our strategic reserves by selling them to China. Anybody who has information that that's what the president's job is, see me after the podcast. That's not going to happen. So what I would tell Patriots to do is be prepared. What does that mean? It means stock up, make sure you have what you and your family need to ride out what's going to be an undoubtedly bumpy few months coming up. We've got a couple ways to look at this. If the worst doesn't happen, then you're prepared. If the worst does happen, then you're prepared. Either way, and we've got midterms coming up, so depending on how we fare in the elections, if we manage to take it back, we're going to have a lame duck Congress who is going to be spending like it's 1999 after November 8th. But for the short term, let's just make sure that you and your family are prepared. The trust but verify doctrine definitely applies here. So make sure your tanks are topped off. Make sure that your perishables, you have non-perishables and perishables in great supply to the best you can, and just be prepared. So what else do we have going on in the news? Oh yeah, we had some interesting things going on in the Pelosi house this weekend. So depending on whether you listen to mainstream media or to our conservative sources, it's either Trump's fault or it's a ridiculously odd situation that no sane person could legitimately dissect, but we're going to go in anyway. So we have video, I believe, of a recording from Paul Pelosi that came in over the weekend. Check it out.
A priority 910, 2640 Broadway, cross of Scott and Normandy. Paper 14 hour copy. RP stated that there's a male in the home and that he's going to wait for his wife. RP stated that he doesn't know who the male is, but he advised that his name is David and that he is a friend. RP sounded somewhat confused. 12 over back and copy.
Units code 3 to 2640 Broadway per 14 hour.
Cover 12 over copy. 15 over also code 3.
Cover 112 advice insufficient units on scene 2640 Broadway. Special call medic 66, location 2640 Broadway.
Wow. Are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? I tell you what, you guys know that I am the queen of sarcasm. It's literally my love language. But in this case, my friend Juanita Broderick has a tweet that sums it up. It was something she posted this morning that sums up what most of us are thinking better than I ever could on any given day. So, if we are to believe the media, a rainbow flag waving nudist prostitute got up at 2 a.m. Friday morning, decided to create 2 random websites with hundreds of posts about QAnon and a big brother in the dead of the night, then stripped down to his underwear, grabbed a hammer, and jogged all the way to Nancy Pelosi's house and miraculously breached 2 layers of max level Secret Service security designed to protect the third most powerful person in the free world with nothing but a hammer and some tighty-whities. And finally shouted, "Where's Nancy?" before smacking Paul in the head with a hammer in front of cops without being absolutely riddled with bullets. This guy is basically Jason Bourne, apparently. He could breach 2 layers of federal security in an assassination attempt, but didn't bother to check to see if Nancy was even in the country, unquote. I'm telling you guys, I love Juanita. That's the best thing you're going to see on television all day. Second best thing is Cat Turd, who goes, "Just remember, if you get into a hammer fight in your underwear at 2 a.m, it's probably Trump's fault." This is the state of ridiculousness that they have delved to in this country. I can't even believe rational people would believe that this is somehow Republicans' fault. He was described, in his own words, described this guy as a friend. You know, I have to stop. I don't know what kind of friends the Pelosi's have. I have no friends that are in my underwear or in their underwear at 2 a.m. with a hammer in my house. I'm going to go on record with that, guys. That's where we are. That's crazy. So we have to, we have to take that for what it is. I just want rational patriots to assess what we're seeing in real time and make your own decision. But Juanita, I think you nailed it on that one. Not hammered it, but nailed it. Okay, I'll see myself out. Anyways, moving on. So I really want to delve today into more of what's happening with the supply chain issues. As you all know from watching Raven's Radar, I'm not a big fan of talking about what the problem is without talking about what an action solution is. But you can't fix what you don't acknowledge. So we definitely need to start by assessing, how did we get here? How do we get here to where we are skyrocketing inflation, where we have supply chains issues, we've had baby formula issues, our border is wide open. We just have the most catastrophic elements of failure of the government on display right now in real time. And we're all trying to get our heads around what's happening and what do we do about it. So I am grateful to have someone on the forefront of this, I would say, fight, argument, strategy. We have Dr. Kevin Freeman. He is a strategist. He is an author. He is an economist. He is an expert, an industry expert on how we got here. And for those of you who are like me, we drank what? But he's going to be discussing in his new book, According to Plan, how this was a systematic and planned demise of America. So he's going to talk about how this happened and what we're going to do about it, because we're all about solutions and there is hope. You got to take it from general America. There's hope. So we're going to be having a discussion with him and talking about some action solutions, some verbs in our sentences right after this. Excellent. Glad to have you here, Patriots. Well, we have a treat today. I am so excited. We have author, strategist, economist, and just all around awesome guy who has written this incredible book. You guys know what I am. I'm fire in words. This guy is fire in writing. And I can't wait to introduce him to you now. Dr. Kevin Freeman is here to talk about his book, According to Plan. Dr. Freeman, thank you for joining us here today on Raven's Radar.
Well, I appreciate the doctorate. I also appreciate the chance to talk to General America, because you're several notches up from Captain America, but it's a pleasure to be on your show.
Fantastic. I am so glad. I have had a chance to thumb through this book. I am an avid reader. It's incredible. So for people who don't want to take our word for it, this has Ben Shapiro, General Flynn, and am I correct that Dr. Ben Carson wrote the foreword on this
That's
book?
correct. Yes.
And so tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about the book, the motivation, and what it's about.
Well, let's go with the Captain America theme, since you've got the great costume. Basically, Hydra, if you're a Captain America fan, Hydra has been infiltrating the government for the past several decades, and they're called the elites.
Yes.
Using a George Orwell analogy, they're the pigs of Animal Farm. And they have unveiled recently their master plan to take over the world, essentially. And it's been hidden in plain sight, whether it's the idea of the 45 communist goals of the 45 goals of the Communist Party USA that were written in the 1950s, published in a book written by Cleon Skousen called The Naked Communists, and then put in the Congressional Record. You go through those goals, and you actually see them as achievements, where they've wanted to infiltrate American society, break down the family, where they've wanted to degrade art, where they've wanted to capture one or both political parties. You know, all of the things that they wanted to do, they seem to be doing. And this is what elites do. They want to tell the rest of us how to live while they live better than the rest of us.
Correct.
And you can see that. Go ahead.
And you are on fire. And since you're on that vein, I want to take this because I can already feel the conspiracists going, okay, well, people are saying that. Tell them, Dr. Freeman, tell them about when you think this started. When did this start? This wasn't just a plan they hatched overnight in 2016 to take down Trump, to destroy our country. When does the research lead you to believe this started, this plan was put into place?
Well, it actually, you mentioned 2016. That's an important inflection point, because that was supposed to be their victory lap. We finally gained it. We've gained the House and the Senate, and we have Hillary Clinton as president. And that's when they were going to unveil and release all of the plans. But the plans were put in place well before that. I mentioned the the American Communist Party back in the 50s wrote this list of goals up that were published in a book written in, I think, 1959, 1960, called The Naked Communist. This is something they've been working on since the end of World War II. And really, it's the same kind of plan that Adolf Hitler had before that, and Lenin in Russia when the communists took over there. It is what elitists do. Their idea is to move us back to serfdom, where the intelligentsia, the elites, like in Hitler's case, he thought that the Aryan race was smarter, better, superior in every way. So he wanted science to prove that, and then he wanted to use science to eradicate the inferior races. Here, they want to enslave us through serfdom, where you will own nothing, and you will be happy about it. Yes, exactly.
Exactly. And when you see this, I don't know, this is a little out of the scope, but I feel like I saw something, Dr. Freeman, that was a grainy video recording from Rockefeller and some of the elites talking about this, and people kind of dismissed it as nothing. But how do they put a place? I mean, most of us have done our history. We know what Stalin, Hitler, Karl Marx, they all followed the same doctrine. So my first question to you is, are we in communism right now? And how did we not see the signs? How were the signs missed about how we got here?
A couple of things. First off, yes, you're right, going back to Rockefeller, but it's true with every person. Once you make so much money, like John Rockefeller did and then passed on to his heirs, or like Bill Gates has done, when you make that much money, the temptation is to believe that you're smarter than everybody else. And if people would just do things the way you want them done, we'd be efficient and everything would be better. And so you can go into it with the best of motives, saying, we need to vaccinate all of Africa against these horrible diseases like malaria. Okay, I get that. But then you're smart enough to realize we can create a vaccine that will solve COVID or other things. And by the way, you can make a whole lot of money doing it. So it's begun at the very beginning. And how we fell for it is, it's like the frog in the kettle. It's just gotten a little bit warmer every year. We've gone down this path of socialism a little bit more. And it is something that Khrushchev reportedly said to our agriculture secretary decades ago. And he said, I think it was in the Eisenhower administration, he said, we're just going to feed you socialism bit by bit until one day you wake up and realize you're all communists. And that's my paraphrase, but that's essentially what he said.
There it is. And that's what I want people to hear. This is not conspiracy theories and propaganda. It's only a lie minds being questioned. The truth doesn't mind being questioned. And that's where we are. You also have a segment on Blaze TV, the Economic War Room. Are these the findings that you're discussing on the War Room?
Absolutely. Whether you look at the stock market, whether you look at inflation, whether you look at the border, whatever you're looking at, there's an economic component to it. Somebody's getting rich off of that. The vaccines,
Correct.
You name it. So we believe we're in an economic war. We're fighting two fronts. One front is with communist China, which directly would like to take us over, subjugate us to the Middle Kingdom, and they've enslaved us as consumers to their production capabilities and investments and so forth. And then the other is the World Economic Forum, which believes we should have a globalized world run by technocrats and elites that will tell us how to live, what to do. They fund the World Health Organization, they fund the United Nations, they fund all of the ideas that next time we have a pandemic, somebody somewhere at some bureaucrat that we've never elected should be running the show, the Anthony Fauci of the world, so to speak, and they would tell us how to live. Someone somewhere is making money off of all of this, and that's why we call it an economic war. It's to their profit and to our detriment.
Exactly it. So let's break each of these down, Doctor. We're going one at a time because this is it. We're over the target now, Patriots. So let's start with the supply chain issue. Okay, the economic impact. If you wouldn't mind weighing in, I'm going to give you the topics and we're going to give the financial. Where's the financial gain? Who gains and what's the financial gain? Are you ready, Doctor?
Sure.
This is going to be our lightning round. So let's start with the supply chain.
We've become dependent on the Chinese supply chain, both in technology and in just manufactured goods. So when you have a chip shortage, you have a problem because we've outsourced it to foreign manufacturing, whether it's Taiwan or China or any of the Asian countries. We don't produce the chips here that we need, so you run out of cars. And so when I look for a car for my daughter, I can't find one, and the waiting list is 6 months to a year. Why is that? Because of the supply chain and because we've outsourced production to save a few bucks, we were told, but in the end, what it means is we're economically enslaved.
You've got that right. Let's move on to the border. Who gains? Where's the economic advantage in having our wide open border with fentanyl and criminals and terrorists running across our border unchecked, unvetted?
Cartels gain, and the Chinese Communist Party gains because they're producing the fentanyl that's coming across the border. They're involved in the human trafficking. The cartels are involved in the human trafficking. And a lot of leftist nonprofit institutions, which have been set up and paid by our government to care for those who've illegally come across the border. We're spending a lot of money with them, and so they gain. And they've been infiltrating our government, saying, oh, let's be compassionate. We need to be compassionate. No, and who loses? The American worker loses. The parents who lost a child to fentanyl lose. Those who suffer from terrorism lose. Across the board, the Chinese Communist Party gains, the drug cartels gain, and the American people lose.
Ooh, you are on fire. Let's keep it going. I want to throw another one at CRT, critical race theory, social emotional learning, all this garbage they're trying to pump into the school. Who gains from that?
Well, that was one of the Chinese Communist goals, and the Communist Party USA goals is to divide America by race. And it's happened, every generation has had to face that fight. But I remember seeing a clip from Morgan Freeman basically saying, I don't want Black History Month. It's American history. I don't need that special treatment. And yet we have all of this division. The division is Marxist attempt to really form a class of society, because Marxism wins when you say there's the haves versus the have-nots. In this case, they have to have the oppressed class and the oppressors. And the winners of it, Chinese Communist Party, because they divide America. And there's a lot of money to be made. Black Lives Matter Patrice Cullors and others who
Oh,
are
my
trained
goodness.
Marxists have bought new houses with the money that they got.
Correct. The biggest scam in history. So we're going to also talk about, oh my goodness, this is it. Is everybody paying attention now? These are not a series of coincidences. This is what's really happening. Strategic oil reserves being emptied and drained and sold to China.
Yeah, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was established by the United States so that if OPEC ever embargoed us and we didn't have actual access to oil, that we could use that and keep our economy going. The Biden administration has used it to lower the price of oil before going into the midterms. And who benefits from that? Well, foreign producers benefit because it's going to put us more at their mercy. And also who benefits from that is all the green movement that wants to push us off oil, wants high oil prices in the long run. It is like we're spending down our savings account that we've saved for a rainy day just to make it a little more comfortable along the path. Well, that's stupid thinking. What we ought to be doing is filling our petroleum reserve, which is what Donald Trump wanted to do when oil prices were much lower than they are now.
Yes, the rock star. And that's what I want everybody paying attention on that. And last but not least, my favorite, okay, are you thinking like me, Dr. Freeman, that we should start claiming Ukraine on our taxes for 2022? The foreign aid, billions of dollars of foreign aid being funneled to the Ukraine.
Well, we have absolutely no accounting of where that money's going. It's enormous amounts of money. I feel for the people of Ukraine. I think it was wrong for the Russians to invade. In a lot of ways, we provoked them into it, and maybe we should have had a different foreign policy, but we are where we are. But where's the accountability? This has become one massive slush. What is this, slush fund? Yeah,
Yes.
massive slush fund
Or
that is
Ponzi
being
scheme,
used by the
whichever's
World
easier.
Economic Forum to cover all sorts of dirty misdeeds. That we knew this was happening before in Ukraine. We've essentially made Ukraine an opportunity for progressive ideas to funnel money through them wherever we want to promote, whatever we want to promote in the world. The Democratic Party is who's benefiting from this.
Exactly. And this is when we get the total picture. This is now, it's not just, it's like literally the perfect storm of all of these things coming together now. And they are catastrophic. So we are, now we've given them the full picture. So Dr. Freeman, I'd like to discuss what our strategies are. How do we fight back against this? What do we do? So how do we fight back against what we're seeing? Now, if we can identify, so let's assume that the patriots who are watching this podcast are all awake now. What do we do to take it back?
Well, the point of according to plan is to walk through and say it is not by accident, it is not incompetence, it actually is a plan that's being perpetrated. So we give 3 specific solutions in it. Number 1 is we need to demand that those who are leading in Congress are our servants, not our rulers.
Yes.
The Constitution is the ruling law of the land, and we, the people, established the Constitution. Therefore, they are public servants, and they need to abide by the same rules as we do. They need to read every bill that they publish, and they need to be punished economically if they fail to perform. So we need to have ability. So we recommend, number 1, the Serve the People Act. I don't know if we can get it passed, but it's got some great points in there of why these people need to be servants, not rulers. Number 2, we tell people all the time in the economic war room, if we're fighting an economic war, then we need to weaponize the one weapon we have, which is our money, our spending, our giving, our investing. And unfortunately, spending has been co-opted because we've done so much in China and we import so much from China. Giving is co-opted because they've infiltrated a lot of the institutions, including the American churches. And investing has especially been co-opted by this ESG movement, pushing environment, social justice, critical race theory, and really a gender quota agenda for boards, which includes gay as LGBTQ, which includes racial agenda and so forth. Instead of putting the best people on the corporate board of directors, we're putting people according to a quota system, which is insane. That's not the best way to run a company. So in the book, we outlined that is our second solution. And our third solution is let's start getting patriotic again. Wear a flag, wear a Captain America outfit. Tell them you love America, not the America they want us to be, but the America we are. how we were founded in 1776. Teach the proper history. Go to David Barton and Wall Builders and learn how our history came about. Realize that this is an exceptional country, not because we're made up of people better than any place in the world, because we are the same people as the rest of the world. What makes us exceptional is we believe in individual liberty, not just collectivism. So if we stand for those three things, those three solutions, the Serve the People Act, make them our servants, not our rulers, weaponize our personal money, and then say, I believe in America. This land still has opportunity. It is the land of opportunity, and we love America, and we'll wear a flag and be proud of it.
Amen. Preach! That was it. That is the essence of why I am in this outfit today, is because that's what it is. This is not a controversial. America's not perfect, but it's the best country in the world, and it's the last bastion of freedom. We can't mess this up. So, Dr. Freeman, it has been incredible having you on the show today. Tell our listeners and our viewers where they can find you. How do they get involved? How do they get a copy of this book? And how do they get on board with now having eyes wide open to take our country back?
Okay, let me start with the book. The first thing you can do to buy the book, you can get a buy one, get one, so that you get a copy you can read, and then you can share a copy. And you get that at accordingtoplanbook.com/EWR for Economic War Room. Accordingtoplanbook.com/EWR. And there you'll get a buy one, get one free offer. The book is $17.76, but you get two of them for $17.76. To learn more about the Economic War Room, it's real simple. It's economicwarroom.com. And there you can see our social media. There you can watch previous episodes. You can sign up to get our free economic battle plan. Every week we send a email with a link to download a free copy of our economic battle plan and to watch the current episode. And by the way, that gives you access to all the old episodes as well as the current one and the battle plans. Or you can watch us if you're a Blaze TV subscriber. You can watch us on Blaze TV or Liftable Media or Exo TV. A lot of different places to find us, but the place to start is economicwarroom.com.
There it is, Patriots. Dr. Freeman, thank you so much for being here, for spelling this out, and for giving us the tools we need to fight back. So glad to have you today.
Thank you for the honorary doctorate, and God bless you, General America.
Well, Patriots, that was it. That was it. Verbs in the sentences. That is incredibly informative. And for those of you who didn't miss, $17.76 for the price of the book, on it, Patriots. This is going to be a great time taking our country back. So I just want to give you all today to be encouraged. This is not a doom and gloom. This is an action and a call to action and a rally for the troops. And that's what we want. So going forward, you can check our website. You can find us at ravenharrison.com. You can find us on social media with Raven's Radar and with the Conservative Warrior. So get involved. Reach out to us. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want us to discuss, and how you want to be a part of taking our country back. This has been Raven Harrison, and we'll see you next time.